Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Okay, I hope you hear me. Thank you very much again for this opportunity. I feel really much, I really actually would like to ask blessings all of the senior devotees, all of the God family and well-wishers, so that we can really get something nourishing from this that will be beneficial and that will just more connect us to the movement and being more strict and more enthusiastic for Krishna consciousness in our everyday life. So, and even though I'm in Brahmacharya ashram, I have to say I also have to endeavor a lot to do that. It's not easy, but actually with determination we can do marvelous things. So let's do the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shalakaya Chakshu Malitam Yena Tasma Shri Guruve Namaha. Okay, I will first read the verse and then we will do the other invocations. So, the verse is 1.9.24. We are continuing on Bhishmadev speaking about the chapter where Bhishmadev is passing away. And just before Yudhishthir is starting to ask Bhishmadev about different things about, it was like, I think it was lasting like for 10 days, 20 days. And it was not like, 4 hours before he departed his work. Actually, was quite extensive talk he had with Yudhishthir, but in Srimad Bhagavatam he had only a small significant part of it. I hope we will continue on it because there are lots of practical things, but of course it depends on what we are focusing on. So this is the 24th verse, the last verse that Bhishmadev is speaking about with Krishna, about Krishna. It goes like this. Sadeva devo bhagavan pratikshatam Kalevaram yavad idam hinom aham prasanna hasaruna lachanolasan mukam bujo dhyana patashchatur bujaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. May my Lord, who is four-headed and whose beautiful decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. Purport. Bhishmadeva knew well that Lord Krishna is the original Narayana. His worshipful deity was four-headed Narayana, but he knew that four-handed Narayana is a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. Indirectly, he desired Lord Sri Krishna to manifest himself in his four-handed feature of Narayana. A Vaishnava is always humble in his behavior, although it was 10% certain that Bhishmadeva was approaching Vaikuntha Dhama just after leaving this material body. Still, as a humble Vaishnava, he desired to see the beautiful face of the Lord. For after quitting the present body, he might not be in a position to see the Lord anymore. A Vaishnava is not puffed up, although the Lord guarantees his devotee entrance into his abode. Yes. Here Bhishma Deva says, as long as I do not quit this body. This means that the great general would quit the body by his own will. He will not be forced by the law of nature. He was so powerful that he could stay in his body as long as he desired. He got this benediction from his father. He desired that the Lord stay before him in his four-handed Narayana feature so that he might concentrate upon him and thus be entranced in that meditation. Then his mind might be sanctified with thinking of the Lord. Thus, he did not mind whether he might go. A pure devotee is never very anxious to go back to the kingdom of God. He entirely depend on the goodwill of the Lord. He is equally satisfied, even if the Lord desires to go to hell, him to go to hell. The only desire that a pure devotee entertains is that he may always be in rapt attention with thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, regardless. Bhishmadeva wanted this much only, that his mind be absorbed in thinking of the Lord and that he pass away thus. That is the highest ambition of a pure devotee. And one was the verse and translation. We can get also the verse, Sanskrit verse. Anyway, may my Lord, who is four-headed and whose beautiful decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling, kindly await me at the moment when I quit this material body. Sadeva devo bhagavan pratikshatam kalevaram yavat idam hinom aham pasanna hasaruna lochano lasam Mukham Bhujo Dhyana Patashchatur Bhujaham. Om Agyana Timirandasya Ganajana Shalaka Chakshumulitam Vena Tasma Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Vishnu Swapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadambaya Panadasarantikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabana Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Katara Arupantanamostu Tedanta Ganchana Gauri Viran Devindvaneshwari Vishwavana Sutedikana Mami Haritya Vanchakavapatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vyeva chapatitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Chandramalu Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Kauravani Pracharyane Nirvisheshva Shunyavadi Pashte Shatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining in. We will make this really brief and really nice, really nectarian. I would like to also hear your thoughts, your realizations as Krishna speaks through all of us. So we are actually speaking about Bhishmadeva's desires. And there are quite a few things about Vaishnava behavior spoken on this purport that Srila Prabhupada is enlightening us. So Vaishnavas, one of the characteristics that Bhishmadeva was speaking here as a Vaishnava was humility. It is written here that 100%, which means like certainty. I hope my English is good enough. I hope I didn't misunderstand those. That he will end up in the Vaikuntha planets. It was so obvious. But what's happening? The Vaishnavas do not act like that. So what does it mean? We don't kind of think, oh, it's so short that I will end up in the spiritual world. It's like the same thing like Janakinath, when he was, the last 1 month with him, he was telling to Satchidananda Swami, and he was speaking to many gurus. Then he had lots of Skype. Some of them I managed to kind of hear some of the lectures. And he was mentioning to Satchidananda Swami, I'm not sure, will I be able to go back to Godhead? I am not sure that I will think of Krishna when I end up my life. But Satchidananda Swami said, oh, don't worry about that, because even though if you do not remember Krishna, Krishna will for sure remember you. So we can see even if our God brother Janakinath Prabhu in his life, he was constantly feeling what exactly? Unqualified. So even though we have the mercy, even though we have the ticket, even though we are serving so nicely, we get the mercy of the Lord, we get the mercy of the Guru. The Lord gives us a Guru, and the Guru, as Chandramauli Swami Gurudev was saying the other day, the Guru gives us the mercy. And how does the Vaishnava feel about it? The Vaishnava who has the mercy, how does he feel about it? He feels unqualified. He feels like I don't have anything, and for some reason, they are not yelling at me constantly, even though they should. And I feel like I don't deserve any of that. So this is what Bhishmadev was showing us, that humility, feeling unqualified to go to Vaikuntha planet, so many desires, so many other things. Oh, I was fighting against Krishna. How can you send me to Vaikuntha planet? I'm his enemy. But actually, he was exchange of love through arrows. Sounds like marriage, right? Sometimes also exchange of love through, arrows of harsh words. Maybe, I hope not pots or any other chivalry ras. But of course, if we are in marriage life to purify ourselves, right? This is the main thing about it. So what is Vishnudev doing? Asks to see the Lord for the last time. And I will go through one other aspect, which is speaking about what is one of the highest principles of devotion. What would you say if I ask you, like, what is the highest thing a pure devotee can do in his life? What can be the highest thing, the most sublime thing a pure devotee does in his life in the material world? What would he say? Maybe we can write it on the chat, please. Please write it on the chat so it can be more dynamical. Like, is it like preaching? Maybe like, doing lots of preaching, maybe opening temples, maybe, following, serve devotees, okay, pure devotees. So let's, if you like, imagine Srila Prabhupada, we imagine Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, if we imagine Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what are they are the biggest, what are the highest ambition of a devotee? It's like, what does the devotee, the highest ambition in the world could be? To serve devotees, as their mother said. It can be to serve the Lord. It can be to open centers, ambition, to preach, to, save the conditioned souls. And in Brahmacharya Ashram, you do feel like that, it's like, okay, I'm here, I'm not kind of building up career. I should go and try to preach and try to sell the souls. But in the end, when the kind of a Maya crashes you and Krishna is like, you're not doing anything actually, then you notice that I'm not saving anyone. I'm just trying to save myself. I'm just pitifully trying to save myself. So one thing that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the last sentence, chant, serve devotees, remember Krishna while leaving the body, exactly, Vrinavanath Prabhu. Interestingly, the highest ambition, so Srila Prabhupada in the last sentence said, the highest ambition of a pure devotee is to remember Krishna while leaving the body. Distributing mercy to people suffering, to help to bring close to Krishna. It's really interesting, isn't it? I would also think distributing the mercy. But pure devotee, as we said, humbly, feeling unqualified, he understands that he is not distributing anything. He doesn't have any mercy. He feels like, I don't have anything to give them. And if I have anything to give them, probably in that point, Krishna just used me as a doll, as a slave, or used me as a puppet to channel this mercy. But this mercy came to them. It's like, a candy that was given to me to give it to someone else. I don't have the candy. I was just having at this moment, I was giving it to you. So I don't have any now. You have the mercy, give it to me, give it back. So in the sense, that's why they always feel dependent on the Lord. This is one of the reasons why the pure devotees and we also, if we think we have a mercy, we are so misguiding ourselves. We are so much because at that moment when we think we have a mercy, then we don't ask for more mercy, because where are we going to put more mercy? You know, like I have enough mercy. I mean, I have enough food and I have enough prasadam. Thank you. I don't, you know, it's not. Thank you. I don't need any more mercy. Thank you. Thank you. I have enough. And if we come to that position, that's a tricky situation. Something is wrong. Why? Because actually we don't have any mercy. We are always searching for mercy. And one of the principles of a disciple is constantly beg the Guru Dev for mercy, because Krishna is giving mercy through spiritual master. So distributing the mercy to people suffering, to help them to bring closer to Krishna, they are feeling so unqualified to do that. They are constantly trying to channel that, they are constantly meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, because what that means, they are constantly thinking of the Lord. That means that they're constantly depending on the Lord. So this is one of the things why these feet, why, you know, we don't have feet fetish in the Krishna consciousness people. No, even though it sounds like that, you know, always speaking about some feet, some lotus this, lotus feet that, you know. No, we don't have feet fetish. It is actually that the feet resembles total dependence. You know, when you come to a, you know, a governor, a king, you're like, please help me. You know, you don't kind of come, you know, stand on a chair and be above him, and he's like, please help me. No, you have to be on the, you know, the under his feet, like, please take me, give me something. No, assist me. So in the sense, that's why one of the things that was also mentioned here in the purport, it is equally satisfied when the Lord desire to hell. Only the only desire of a pure devotee entertains is that he may always be in rapt attention, rethinking of the lotus feet of the Lord regardlessly. That also means it's not like, okay, we don't kind of you know, like feet, you know, that we kind of you know, have pictures of feet around. Maybe if we have this thinking of surrender, this means of you're constantly depending on the Lord. So this is the perfection of life. And I really like this word rapt attention, which means not get this picture out of our head, not even for a moment. Like a person who is drowning and he has like this life belt and he's holding on this life belt and he's not going to take this out for a moment. And the shark is like, hey, why don't you leave this for a second, you know, so we can play? No, Mr. Shark, Mr. Maya Shark, no, I'm not leaving that. This is my only thing that is holding me not to drown and not be eaten by you. So interestingly, isn't it? And I have to say, do you feel like for you for you is the same to be in hell or not? What would you say? Is it the same for you to be in hell or not? I mean, this world looks like hell already, and I think that recently it's becoming hellish, full hellish, and maybe full-fledged hellish soon. And like I was just listening to Bhakti Vikar Swami's crisis. He was mentioning everything what is happening in the world, and there are like 50 terrible things happening in the world. Not one, not two, not five, like 50 of them, and each of them you have no idea how. Like, is it more worse than the other one? And I'm just thinking like, wow, this civilization is collapsing, and we are a part of that. At least if we do not absorb ourselves in Krishna consciousness, it is like that. Lamanchita Prabhu, one of the senior devotees here, were just mentioning in the lecture this morning how we have two channels. We have a TV. It's like our eyes watch TV constantly. And these are two channels, the spiritual channel or the Maya channel. And Maya channel has different channels, like 108, 2000 channels, different Discovery, Netflix, or I don't know what else. but we are trying to absorb ourselves to the spiritual channel, because then whatever we do, we're going to see that everything is arranged by Krishna, everything, and the spiritual master is there with us. We are not alone in this crisis. We are not fighting alone these demons. We are not fighting alone these, energy crisis, gas getting, paying the mortgage, or we are not fighting it by ourselves. No, that spiritual vision, spiritual channels. That's why we are absorbing ourselves in these things. I think I lost my track of thoughts. Anyway, quitting our body, Bhishma, he can live by his own will. And we cannot do that, right? Can any of you guys have a mystical powers? Anyone? Maybe from the past life or something. I don't know. I don't judge. Some mystical powers. I mean, like when I see a woman in the kitchen, that's mystical for me. I cannot do so many things and speak and have a conversation. It's impossible. It's like a mystical power by itself. I have mystical powers, guys. I have no idea when I will leave my body. And believe me, every day going to Sankirtan, I just feel like it's like, yeah, maybe this will be the day. This will be the day that somebody will not like what I will tell to them and say to them. And it's really an interesting way to live. Interesting way to live, that we have no idea when we're going to leave, and this is like one of the things that Satchidananda Swami said. What will give us an urgency of a spiritual life? Okay, I'll not go too much to other topics, but I will share this once. We had a seminar of Satchidananda Swami in Ljubljana last week from Thursday, 14 to 19, Sunday. Dhritarashtra, he had Vidura, pure devotee of the Lord, in his assembly, constantly trying to advise him, constantly saying the same advice. Get rid of your son, Dhritarashtra. Yeah, Dhritarashtra had Vidura as an advisor. Get rid of your son, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana. Yes, Duryodhana. Get rid of your son, Duryodhana. Come on, it's like everything is saying that get rid of that son. You have hundreds of sons, just get rid of one. What's the problem? No, he was attached to him, and all of these atrocities he was doing towards Krishna, towards Pandavas. So Vidura was a pure devotee of the Lord, was advising him. Hey, does this sound like, when Gurudev comes and he's advising us, we don't listen to him? Sounds similar, right? Anyway, okay, don't worry. We'll come to that. So pure devotee was advising him. Nothing. Krishna himself came to Dhritarashtra. And he says, like, when Dhritarashtra says to Krishna, when you come, my material blindness vanishes like a light hits on me, and I can see you. Actually, he had a vision. He got his sight back. He saw Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrounded by Pandavas. So he saw Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And believe me, not many people knew that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead at that time. Even he was walking. But he still could not accept. But then, when the war was over, when all of his sons died, and he started to be a pet, like he was living like a king. Actually, like he had all the privileges of a king, but he was staying with Pandavas. Then Vidura came back, and he was starting to insult his brother. Come to your senses, leave them, go to the body, go to the forest and get liberation. And that was so sublime, because Dhritarashtra, who was so sinful, managed to change so much that he didn't become a devotee, but he went and he renounced material life, and he get liberation. It was amazing. Mercy of a pure devotee. So there was 3 factors changed. And these are 3 factors that will change in our life as well. So if the spiritual master comes to us, a pure devotee comes to us and give us some recommendation, give us some instruction, and we are hard to follow, We are like the Tarashtra, which is hard to follow the instructions of Vidura and Krishna before the war. But then Maya happens, our life happens, the war happens, and then there are three things that changes, three factors that changes that makes us actually listen to the sadhus. One of it, that materially we become exhausted. Dhritarashtra, he senses what's not working anymore. He was losing power. He was losing earsight. He was blind. He was losing earsight. He was barely walking. He was not even eating so much. So, I mean, so he couldn't kind of, he couldn't live life anymore. So this is one thing that really changes our perspective. Materially, we are exhausted. We just, he lost his 100 sons, it's like family life, just exhausted. And this is what so many times Guru Maharaj said, we cannot live our full spiritual life if we are not exhausted of material life. And thank God, Maya is helping us. And that's why we have all this, tough life, and it will be much worse. That's why this material civilization is going to crash, but this is a perfect moment for spiritually enlightenment, to take seriously our spiritual path, and you will be joyful. You will be amazed. You will be like, everything is crashing around, and you'll be like dancing, chanting Hare Krishna. And why? Because actually this is our process, and it is meant to be like that. Doesn't matter what situation is outside. So, material exhausted, number one. Number two, oh Krishna, please. Now I'm feeling anxiety. Okay, wait a second. I have my notes here. Kali Yuga memory. Sorry, guys. You'll see this through just in a bit. Here we are. Yes, attachments are removed. So his attachment to his son was removed, to his older sons, and all of these reasons why was he doing these things, not listening. So our attachments are the one who is like, we still believe in these attachments. We still believe we could be happy if we keep these attachments, if we kind of go through these attachments. So these attachments go away. So this is why Krishna also likes to, if he really favors someone, he takes everything from him. And that's because he likes, devotees to be poor, but he likes us to be without any attachments. And when you kind of lose something and really valuable, even a house, if you lose a house, we go to Vrindavan and you find out that your house and all your belongings burned to the ground. Wow, that's quite a drastic change. All of your things have burned down when you were in Vrindavan. So it can happen. And then you could just continue on your life and continue with your service and serving the Lord, and you will see that, okay, actually I see that, I can do without it. I can manage somehow. I have a new fresh start. And all of these attachments that we were attached to actually go away, which doesn't mean that it will happen to you. I'm just giving an extreme example. The third factor, so first, materially exhausted. Second, attachments are removed. The third one is urgency of death. So urgency of death means like, like as Janakinath Prabhu had as well, as Shrutidharma Prabhu had, or if somebody knows that he's, COVID afflicted or has some ill disease, like that is like, okay, stop the clock, I have to rearrange my life. Urgency of death. And also Dhritarashtra had this urgency of death. So in this regard, this urgency of death is that Bhishmadev, he didn't have an urgency of death. He could choose when he wanted to die. We don't know. And we should always be urgent of death, especially seeing all these things, especially of course, Krishna is protecting his devotees. It's not like we should be fearful of death, but we should think that maybe soon enough, Krishna is, said, okay, enough of this life. What you did. I have you're going to continue your spiritual life somewhere else. maybe you have to take another birth, but you don't want to take another birth. So this urgency of not like death, like, but more like leaving this body and taking another birth and doing it all together again. And then, it's like, what's easier, to take another birth or just kind of be serious now? Pros and cons. Anyway. So the biggest ambition of a pure devotees are to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, and especially when they are leaving this temporary situation that we are in, called material life, and leaving to serve Him eternally, so we can see Him eternally and serve Him eternally. This is the biggest ambition, because being here is really a nasty place. So, and I will just like to refer a Vaishnava. We have two more qualities speaking here. One is the humbleness. The second one is desire to serve, which speaking about rapt attention to the lotus feet of the Lord. And the third one is that Vaishnava is satisfied and grateful for what he has. Vaishnava has his only enjoyment, his only source of enjoyment that he's endeavoring, he likes it, is from serving the Lord. And this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to purify ourselves and our attentions and our approaches to devotional life, to devotional service, so that we get actually some rasa from devotional service, so that we want to serve more, and that we do not want to sense enjoy. And then we will remove this sense enjoyment, and we will be just fixed in devotional life and doing service. We're going to constantly think how I can serve more, how I can serve more. And then doesn't matter where we go. It doesn't matter where we go. Unfortunately, now, do we want to live in hell or not? Well, we live in one high type of hell, and we just, as more as we try to absorb ourselves in devotional life and be serious about it, be more reflective about being materially exhausted, being removed our attachments, to pray to be removed our attachments, and the urgency of, we have no idea how many days we have still, how many months or years, to try to take it seriously and with determination. Anyway, I will stop here. Thank you very much for listening. I would like to open up some reflections, some comments, or questions, easy questions that I can answer. The hard ones, give it for Maharaj.
So thank you, Vrshabh Prabhu, for enlightening us, and lots of good pointers actually you covered. Starting from what's the highest goal of, or highest ambition, in fact, for a pure devotee, and then moving towards how to serve Lord eternally and avoid this hellish planet, or this current hellish planet, or like the future. And then three things you highlighted. One, materially exhausted. Second, attachments are removed. And then third, urgency of death. So these three things are critical. And then you also covered in brief Vaishnavatic qualities, which are humility, desire to serve always, and they are satisfied and grateful to whatever they have received by mercy of Lord. They are thinking everything is mercy of Lord, whatever good or bad happening. And moving from sense enjoyment to serving mode. So thank you very much. Really, it was amazing, and so many nice and important messages and takeaways. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If you have any questions, comments, or realizations, please unmute yourself, or you can type in chat window. I can read on your behalf. And also request devotees to switch on their cameras, if possible. That will give a better understanding to our dear Vrshabh Prabhu.
And Scarlett, I saw that you were laughing a lot. Maybe you can share some nice points. Yes. Okay, wow, that's nice. You're prepared for that one. Yeah, Sriluka, how can we serve you?
Yeah, Renuka Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Maharaj. Thank you for a wonderful class. It gives us a lot of things away. Prabhuji has also summarized that, three things that you've mentioned is materially exhausting. One must be materially exhausted and away from attachments and urgency of death. Um, for me, I sometimes wonder that, all women, I can only talk because, being in a woman's body and having this birth, do you really think that, for a lot of times I feel, and I have shared with many senior devotees as well. I have been in this journey for like, say, past 8-9 years now, and I have seen some ups and downs myself. And I have there've been two very extreme milestones in my life, in my as a devotee, where I felt deeply that I'm materially exhausted. I had no attachment to carry on, but still I was suggested to carry on, to tolerate. And uh, the way we call all women as Matajis and Prabhujis as Prabhuji, as a devotee of Lord Krishna, but women tend to only get Mataji, which is like we have to still carry on with the household duties and, take care of kids, take care of your husband, support your husband till you are ready. So when are we really ready? I mean, like, I don't understand if all Prabhujis understand that once you are materially exhausted, and once you have lost the attachments, it's really a suffering to carry on. It is suffering every day to carry on. You can do it with a smile in the name of Lord, but it's a suffering. And you suffer more sometimes because, your heart is not where you're supposed to. You're being suggested to be. So what do you suggest in your point of view, if you can understand a perspective like that, where, I'm carrying on because it's the word of Maharaj that, you're supposed to carry on. But, when are you really ready? Because you felt that and you're pushing yourself back. So isn't it like you are working like a pendulum? The moment we are feeling that, we are so close to God and, we really, that's all I want. I don't want this is all so superficial, so done. I'm so done with this, not in this lifetime, no more, no more. But then you go back, because, that's what you're supposed to do as a grahastha. So, if you've mistaken once, and you married and you have a family, I mean, I sometimes feel that my options exhaust right there, you know. I mean, like, I'm done. I would never have a chance. And I look at my mother-in-law, I serve them also, they stay with me. And I feel that she's 60 and it's still not finishing for her. It's not finishing, Prabhu. I'm really telling you, because I'm not saying, I'm not judging anybody, but then being an Indian, we are brought up with this facts of dharma. We've been listening. We grew up with my mother, my father, and everybody, doing puja and everybody offering every day. So we are grown up like that.
I'm just
And
searching for
then
something to. I'm just searching for something to answer you. So please continue.
I'm so sorry, but I'm just trying to tell you that, do you really think that, it is really going to end? I mean, because, it's just, I feel as if it's just a pendulum. The more I, force myself, or I get, I feel that inside me that I am so close, equally opposite, I'm just thrown back there, with the family, go do your duties. And without attachment, without anything, doing your duties, it's quite a suffering. I'm so sorry, but if you could get, I mean, like, do you think it really stops anywhere? I'm like, or you have to just wait for the death?
No, come on. Yeah, we are
It's
not
quite
this kind
a
of a,
pessimist. Yes, it's very pessimistic
yeah, isn't
approach.
it?
I don't want. I'm a die-hard, hardcore optimist
Uh,
person. So I am no. I will never give up. That's me. That's the metal I am made from. I think all devotees are cut from the same cloth. We all feel that within our hearts. So do you think there will be a time where you know we can grow from Matajis to real devotees?
yeah, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this example. And why? Because if I can like summarize your question, so we have to what we are doing. Can you just imagine what we are doing as a devotees? That somebody comes to you and say, "Hey, what do you think if you just take all of the things you enjoyed your life so far, you take it away, and then join this group where we are working hard all day, like, and we are like sleeping minimum, we are eating minimum, we are we are have to kind of be with people that maybe you cannot even tolerate, and you have to be with them, and sometimes you have to be in the same room, you have to kind of you have to work with them even though you would never even like try to be close to them, and you have to kind of put yourself aside, like no needs or desires, no, just kind of work hard, and there is like don't take any and don't take any enjoyment, no material enjoyment, no so much restrictions, so many restrictions, and for materialists it looks like a suicide. It looks like you have to be brainwashed, you have to be hypnotized, you have to be on drugs 24/7 to accept something like that. And I have no way, why would anyone do that? And it's like it's better just to stay as we are. But the thing is, this is the difference between spiritual and material things, that we are leaving this I am an enjoyer part, and we are shifting to the things that a servant is doing. So, and in one sense, it's like the same thing if in a brahmacharya, some brahmachari decides I would like to try to be a brahmachari. And then he starts to read about the Vedic point of view about these mundane man and woman relationships. So mundane man and woman relationships. And he can read about all of these really nice, pleasant way how it is described, this kind of, this materialistic, lusty women, how they are described. They are really looks like the biggest demons in existence. And it can sound like, well, you Hare Krishnas are pessimistic. No, you're actually, you're disgusted by life. Yeah, you have an inner disgust about life. And this is where we can be when we are transiting from the material way of living in the spiritual. There is like a no man's zone, where when we are traveling, we are kind of disgusted by the material, but we are still not figuring out, we still didn't manage to put the spiritualize our activities. This hard work, this renunciation, these austerities we are doing, we didn't manage to spiritualize them, because this difference between us and the Mayavadis or Gyanis do not spiritualize their activity. They're not spiritualize it in the sense that it's connected to Krishna. So they become hard-hearted, because materialist, you see, so material world doesn't have any logic. So we are disgusted by material world, and our spiritual activities are harsh. So it is natural that we will become hard-hearted. But devotees are not hard-hearted. So where is the catch? The catch is why they are telling you to go forward and everything. They are actually telling you to change not the situation, but as Satchidananda said, changing situation is material activity. Change your darshan, change your vision, change the reasons and your attitude why you do the same activities. So devotees didn't, maybe we think we should, go and take a sannyas or vanaprastha, or be in Vrindavan, and only if you are doing puja every day, we're going to be spiritual. You can be in the brahmacharya ashram, be in total maya, like being in such a big maya that they have to kind of try to call the police to take you out. So it's not about changing the situation. So the moment you change the reasons why you're doing this, you change your meditation while you're doing this, you're becoming conscious. Every day.
Sorry, Prabhu, your voice is breaking. Not sure whether it's at my end or.
I'm not Haribo, you hear me?
Can devotee hear? Because I was not able to hear Prabhu in last few seconds.
Yes, it was shrieking. Yes, it was shrieking.
Okay, so what was the last thing? What was the last?
You said you have to not change the place, or you have to change your darshan. You have to change the intention with what you're doing. Yeah, we lost you there.
Yes. So in the same sense, here in temple, I wash the pots every day. Every day I wash the pots. But when I wash the pots with, just let my mind do whatever he wants and just thinking about random things, then I got exhausted. And I'm not motivated to continue on doing it. And after that, I have to go to Sankirtan. So it's like, to deal with so many people, like, oh my God, it's like, no, I have to take a rest, take some halwa. It's like,
Vrshabh Prabhu, maybe you can switch off your video, because looks like your bandwidth is.
No, but the thing is, when what is sometimes it's good, something is bad. Is it better?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is it better?
Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
So, but if I wash the pots, thinking of Gornitai, I feel nourished. I do the same activity, but the result is totally different. So this is called being conscious what we do, and not like, I'm washing pots. Look at me, I'm washing pots. No, it's like I'm serving the Lord. This is my way of serving the Lord. And if you have this meditation and you practice it and you perfect it, you will do the same activity that you're doing right now, and you will be in ecstasy. You'll be even more crying. You'll wash your pots with tears. So this is not changed, doesn't mean to change the situation if it's not difficult, it's not like problematic or life-threatening. It is more of changing our darshan. And this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness movement, why we are not jnanis, why we are not, austere, hard-hearted, people. Because that's why your authorities, when they say go forward with it, it's like you cannot change, you cannot renounce your children, you have obligations to them, but change your vision.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I needed to all glories to you.
All glories to you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any thoughts? Anyone?
I think you covered very nicely, Vrshabh Prabhu, the previous point. And if I may add here, my understanding to Renuka Mataji question. Hello, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Mataji, can you hear?
Yes, please.
Ji, Prabhuji.
See, one important thing for all of us is that to remember that the switch to a devotee is not going to happen in a particular moment. So the point which you were discussing, that Mataji to devotee, in my view, they are the various positions which have been given by Lord. And whether it's somebody is calling Mataji or somebody is calling somebody Prabhuji, that's like just a respect. But it's not something like a life kind of a that in Mataji state we cannot be completely out of like material kind of things. In that situation also, like wherever we are, whether we are a child, whatever responsibility, whether we are a adult or whether we are a completely like old person, as you also mentioned, like in old age also it's not possible sometimes, yeah, to come out. So that's like immaterial. What's critical for us is that how we are serving, like whatever opportunity given to us, as Rishabh Prabhu was also saying nicely, we cannot change the opportunity, like our surroundings, but just remember that whatever situations Lord has given, it's all his plan. Nothing is happening without his plan, whether good or bad. So thinking that why this is happening to me versus thinking that Lord, now you have created this all situation, this whole environment, I have to do my best to prove myself that whatever you give, I will just do, I will serve that way. And my focus, like, and I remember Guru Maharaj mentioned very nicely in one of the class that our internal vision has to be like a gopi. It's very difficult to imitate that, but thinking like that means we are serving whole material world, but internally we are like, externally we are serving, but internally we are trying to renounce all that. Yeah. So attaching ourselves to Krishna, while externally we are doing all the duty, whether as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter-in-law, or as a like husband or as a father, we have to do our duty. But remember, like doing those that, okay, this is a material duty, I have to do my best because that's what responsibility given by Krishna. Not anybody can become a mother, not everybody can become a wife. So that's a very unique position Lord has given. But let's do whatever way. But internally, I have to take every day one step closer towards Krishna. I think that should be, in my view, the vision and mood for all of us.
Thank you, Prabhu. I like the thing that I am taking home two things from Prabhu. He said the no man's land. It totally clicked with me, in sync with my heart, that yes, we are in no man's land right now. I mean, like, it is a no man land. So yes, we may feel the highs and lows sometimes, and we might feel very close to Krishna some days, and someday we feel as if we are struggling and we are again back to Maya. But yes, as Guru Maharaj also said once, that as long as you are in material world, there is a struggle, but as long as you are struggling in the right direction, it's fine. So yes, I just remembered that when you were saying that everybody has to have that gopi bhav. That's exactly what I meant when I said that it's very difficult, when that pendulum, it just goes with a full swing in one direction. Whoa, it just oscillates, in the other direction with the same force. So what happens is, to strike that balance, to just walk on that thin edge, wherein you are surrounded by all the material things, you are neck deep in Maya, but still you're acting like a lotus, you're not affected by it. It's quite a strong thing to carry on day after day after day after day, each day of your life. And I will not call it suffering. It's certainly a blessing, but then yes, it's a blessing in disguise, wherein you gopi bhav is such a big thing. I mean, the epitome of any prem bhav. So I mean, considering who we are, what our positions are, it's difficult. Yeah, and I'm really glad that I could speak and I could get uh, your answers, both of you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mataji.
We can get a nice thing to think about as well.
So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, we are just like on the clock, but any other questions, comments, realizations? Okay. Looks like no any other questions, Mr. Prabhu. So if it's okay with your permission, we can close this call today.
Yes, thank you very much, devotees, for really nice. I really got also a lot of things from this conversation, and I hope to be able to join you as soon as possible next time as well, as a listener, of course.